Dope is what flows in his fam's DNA. Dope is what flows in his fam's DNA.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Warren Shaw, and welcome to Dope Interviews, brought to you by the Mighty 19 Media Group. Make sure to rate, review, subscribe, the whole nine. Do all of those things. Shout out to Rich Kid Clothing for always sponsoring the 19 Media content. And on today's show, super special guest. We're taking it to the gridiron. We have the groundbreaking, the inspirational. She just completed her first season as an NFL official. It is Maia Chaka. Maia, what's good? How you feeling?
I feel amazing. How are you?
No complaints. I'm excited to be here with you and discuss what is really groundbreaking stuff by you. You are a historian. You know what I mean? If you go on Wikipedia and hold on, we're going to see Maia up there, you know what I mean, and amongst the legends, and kind of just wanted to get right into that. Being selected, and I don't know if that's the right word, earning your way, right, to be being an official in the NFL. What was your first thoughts when you got the notification? Who was the first person you called?
Oh man. When I received the call, it was just like a sigh of relief, and I didn't really believe it was happening because I didn't think it was going to happen. And I was in development for 7 years, and normally it takes people around like 3 years of development, at the time I came in before they were either hired or they were cut loose. And so it was just a relief, and I knew my life was going to change from that moment on. And the first person I called, golly, I think it was my mom.
Word.
No, as a matter of fact, it wasn't my mom. I take that back. um I didn't call anyone. Everyone found out when it was on the Today Show. I didn't call. And I thought about it. I didn't call anybody. I just told everybody. I called my mom and told her to watch the Today Show, but I didn't tell her what happened.
That's a vibe. This vibe, kind of keep it under wraps and let everybody like boom, hit them on it, hit them with it. I feel you on that.
Yeah.
So now that the first season is over, right? Was it what you expected?
Um, yes and no. Like, I was really expecting it to be difficult. Not trying to say that it wasn't difficult. Um, I guess I was just well prepared for it. I was expecting to probably be maybe because it was COVID the year before, and I had only worked 4 games in the Pac-12, so I was very rusty. So I was expecting everything to be much faster because it's professional football.
Yeah.
But I did work an awful lot in the off season, to make sure that my mind was where it was supposed to be. I worked with my crew, like in training camp, and they made sure that I was up to speed. There are some things that I'm going to miss because it's a part of the growth process. Um, but and I really am saying this to be humble about it, but also a lot of confidence. I put the work in, so it was everything I expected it to be and more.
Yeah. So something I've always wanted to know, and this is a personal question, not even for our fans and listeners, is just how do refs get and officials, how do they get crunk for games? Like, what's your pregame routine? Like, what's the situation with that?
Oh man, so for me, I'm actually the opposite. Like, I don't get amped up for games. I'm like chill
No.
because like when you get to the stadium, they amp everything up for you. So like the things I listen to like on my playlist, like on my way to the stadium and like the morning of, I listen to a lot of R&B. Like I listen to a lot of Her, a lot of Summer Walker. That type of like vibe is what I'm in like for most of the day. And then when I get to the stadium, it's like whatever they're playing, like it gets me hyped, because the players are always hyped. And when you go into the locker room and then they get hyped, that's an amazing feeling as well.
No, for sure, for sure. So is there a pregame meal, or you just eat whatever's at the stadium that day?
So for us, like we start so early in the morning, like if we have a 1 o'clock kick, like we're eating breakfast, then that's pretty much what we have. And like I like to stick to just my oatmeal, like for breakfast. Then at the stadium, different stadiums have different things around for us to eat. Most of the options though are like fruit. Like you want to stick to something that's kind of light. So you want to make sure you have whatever your breakfast is going to hold you down. And then like because we're at the stadium about 3 hours prior to the game time, they have stuff in the locker room like sandwiches and everything, but I just stick to fruit
It
and
makes
a
sense.
lot of liquids. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. I got to keep it
Post
light.
game is different. Post game is
Oh,
different. They
oh,
feed you good
we
for post
grubbing
game.
after the game.
Yeah.
I like that. So kind of even circling back. So obviously with the selection and being in this realm, you said it wasn't a super difficult move for you in terms of just kind of getting your mind right and understanding what you need to do to call the game effectively. But it how did the fans, how did the players, I think coaches, how did they all treat you as kind of being quote unquote the first, if you will?
Man, they treat me like just like they treat all the other referees. No,
Right.
I'm joking. No, I'm joking. But that's what you want. You want to be treated the same.
Yeah.
But no, like seriously, like a lot of the players and coaches were actually happy to see me out there, especially the players. They will come up, during pregame, like before everything kicked off, and they'll tell me they're happy to see me out there because they have daughters, or, thank you for being out there. They're happy to have my representation.
Mm.
But I think the greatest compliment is once the game is over, and when the coach tells you good job, like once the game is done, even after they've chewed you out the whole game, because that's a part of the game. That's what comes with the program, right? But for them to tell you that you did a good job or congratulations, or not to receive a lot of complaints to the office, following your
Right.
game, I think that's the highest compliment.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. And kind of along the same lines, if you will, are we making headway fast enough? I think in this space. I mean, do you have friends, other female officials who are looking to kind of be in the same spot as you, that you can maybe reach back out and say whatever? I know it's not a open the door type of situation, just bring your homeboys or your homegirls in here type of thing, but it's again, what I mean, it's are we making headway enough in this space in your own opinion?
We are, like, for the most part. I know underneath me in a development program, they have another 3 women that are
Right.
under development right now, and maybe some more. And actually, two of those 3 women came from Conference USA where I was, and two of them, I actually had, the opportunity to work with them and to train them and to talk with them when they were in a
Mm.
developmental stage. So we're making headway. The thing is getting enough women to be, to even try,
Yeah.
and to try it at a realistic age and place in their life where they can set themselves up for the best possible chance of success. And not trying to say, we don't want people who are older, but just like any job, they want you fresh, young, especially targeting like those young athletes coming out of college when you don't understand, exactly where your career may be taking you at that point. We try to
Mm.
recruit young at that age to get them in so that we can give them a chance to develop. But it's just about us with retention, and it's not just with the women officials, it's also with male officials too, trying to make sure that we get them at a point where, they do have an opportunity to succeed the best way possible.
I wanted to ask you kind of best moment and worst moments from this first season. What's like one thing you're like, oh man, that was hella dope, and one thing is like, damn, I could have, I wish that went another way.
I tell you this, I can give you the same. I can answer that question with one situation.
Oh,
So
word.
this was crazy, and this is just the way I look at life. Like even when things are kind of jacked up, I always find the good side about it. So second training camp I ever went to were in I believe Baltimore, and I leave my shoes at home. So I show up to training camp, yeah. And I show up to training camp with flip flops and pink toes, and I mean I get joked at and like heckled because I'm the rookie, and I'm panicking because I don't want them to call the office and tell them, that this girl can't even remember her shoes. So we get to training camp, and then my crew kind of sort of pitches in. They're trying to find me shoes at the last minute. At the very last minute, they're trying to look around, trying to find me shoes. They can't find shoes. So the team actually ends up giving me a pair of shoes. And I wore those through training camp. But it was an ongoing joke. Like every time I went on the field, like somebody from the team would come up to me and say, "Hey, nice shoes," or "Hey, we got the same shoes on." Like it was just like a joke of it. So it's kind of like a good and a bad thing. It's
Yeah.
bad that I forgot them and it's very unprofessional. But the good thing is, you own up to it and you show that you're human and you build those relationships and you show your professionalism that way.
Yeah, I think like I said, you even getting to see kind of like the true human side and the teamwork side again of the league
Yep.
itself, like two people looking to help solve a solution, even though they're gonna clown you for it. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, they're still trying to get a solution solved, man. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So what do you think has been the biggest lifestyle adjustment for you since, being now this big time NFL official?
Everything. So for me, I'm really a low key person, right? And when we're officiating, we're always taught to stay under the radar and to go unnoticed because nobody really likes referees. And so, like now with me, it's like the complete opposite. Like my life is now out there in the forefront.
Mm.
People want to get to know me. And that's something I have to learn how to be better at. I have to post more on social media or be more interactive. As somebody who I'm already out there in the community quite a bit and working with youth, and that takes up a lot of time in my day. Now I have to add this other element in where other people want to be able to get to know me, and I have to be more open and welcoming to that.
So you just brought it up, and it's like you kind of in my head here. Is your social media crazy? Like, is it wild? Because I mean, from an official standpoint, people like to get at. I mean, like, if you're on Twitter all day with the stuff like that, oh, that referee, da 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 da. I mean, but your social is not necessarily geared towards specifically your work in the league, but it's your personal feed and page. But people will seek you out. So, is your social media kind of wild, or are you able to kind of manage that?
So I mean, it's strategically done like that because I don't want to just be known as the black girl referee. You
Right.
know, I have a mind. I have things that I want to put in place. I have other projects that I want to, be known for. Other than that, and so that's pretty much how I want what I want my page to reflect. Now, obviously, because I have such a unique name, I don't think there's anybody else on the planet that has my name. um, it's really easy to find me, and people do come at me sideways about some stuff, inside of my DMs, or they may leave some weird comments on the bottom of the page. But some people do things just for shock value.
Yeah.
But I don't address calls that were made in the game, whether it's myself or my peers or colleagues. I don't address that stuff on on those platforms.
I want to ask you a little bit about your community work and the nonprofit that you have. When did you start that, and why is that something that's so important to you?
So the one I have now, Make Meaningful Change, I just launched it at the first of this year. It's really I pretty much reimaged and rebranded what I was already doing in the community. I had one that was called Gems, Girls with Empowering Minds and Spirits. And I just wanted to switch it up and to cater to both males and females, and not just just not just the young ladies out here. But so I got this idea because I've been working in education for 15 years, first as a
Mhm.
PE teacher, and now I'm a student success coordinator with another nonprofit that works in partnership with school systems. I just really found out that I love working with at-risk youth and underserved communities. That's something I love to do. That's my very first passion. And there are so many gaps and holes as to who is being covered by what. From working in public school, there's so many things you can't do as a public educator. And then working with the nonprofit I'm working with now, they're working with pretty much only specific areas of the community.
Mhm.
Um, when there's so many other areas of the community that need help where I'm able to fill in those gaps at. And so that's just pretty much that is.
So, is where did this passion for the community kind of come from? Where did it stem? Why is that something that's so emboldened for you?
I think that's how I was raised, like my father was a youth counselor at a juvenile home for boys in New York State. And so that's what he did. He was
Mhm.
also very heavy into rebuilding the communities of Southern California with the Watts riots when he was living in California. And that was just something that was just in him. And they always taught us, as children, to put your community first. We had a bookstore when I was a young child, and his store was always in the hood. Like they tried to make him move it to the suburbs and to the mall, and he refused because he wanted to serve as a resource to the community. And so I think by growing up with that around me, that's all I knew. All I knew was to work hard and give back. And so it just came like second nature to me.
Well, I love it. You know what I mean? And I always say when I'm talking with people, nobody's any just one thing. And so you're doing this, you're doing that, and those are the things that are important to you, and trying to make sure that you uplift the community and having that familial structure, that foundation to kind of propel you. Really, you're doing a really great job with that. And I'm sure you're an inspiration to so many that you're working with in your community. I know that you're originally, I guess, from the Rochester area, so to speak. And can you say this was always the goal? Was it always to kind of to be where you're at right now, or has your vision and focus for what you wanted to do with your life changed along the way?
My goal was just always to be successful at something. Uh, and yeah, once I started officiating, of course, you want to make it to the NFL, but that wasn't necessarily my dream. When I
Mhm.
was a kid, my dream was to be the first woman in the NBA, and that didn't really work out. So um, I just noticed, like in life, like when you start working, it is great to have goals, but sometimes you have to realize when certain goals just aren't working, or you just have to always have your eyes open and your ears open for other opportunities. And when those opportunities come, just be prepared to try it. I'm an Aries, I'm a fire sign. I go out on a limb, I dabble in everything. Like if anything is thrown in my face, it's like I'm going to try it and I'm going to do it to the best of my ability until I can't do it anymore. I like to live by a certain, I won't say a certain rule, but I challenge myself every year to do something different that I haven't done in the previous years. And so that's always on my thing. So that's the reason why I'm a little bit, I'm able to mix and match with a couple of different people because I just try everything.
Right. So, do you feel like you're going to be the pride of Rochester? Are you going to be the biggest person to kind of ever come out of there? You're going to be the keys to the city and the whole nine?
I hope not. I hope there's somebody bigger coming up underneath me,
Word.
because it's what I did is great, you know. But we still can have a black female that's an owner of a team, and that would be monumental. We can have some black women that are coaching, or are involved in other sports, or some big position in corporate America somewhere. So it shouldn't just end all with me. I'm just like one extent of it. So I like to see somebody trump me, or go higher than where I am.
And that's what makes you you, right? Truly, as I said before, you're clearly an inspiration. You have a lot on your shoulders. Before we let you get out of here, just a couple quick ones. Just what do you think, or what would you like your second season to kind of be like in the NFL?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Uh, Uneventful. First of all, I did a good job my first year. It's not being somebody's mean, and so that's how I want to continue my second year. But more so, um, I want to be able to grow more as to where I am. Be able to make uh just my vision on the field needs to improve. Being able just to see more. You
Yeah.
know, I did a really good job my first year with call selection and just what I need to do as a rookie. But now it's just stepping it up and taking it to the next level. Like, can I see beyond what's just in front of my face? Where can I help out in the game? There's so many gaps in coverage sometimes. So how can I look beyond those gaps to fill in the holes?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. I think that's a great answer. So, a last one here before we let you get out of here for real. For real, I know you got a flight to catch. You got things to do. But again, as I mentioned, you are an inspiration, and definitely what I'm seeing on IG, and you got a little bit of fashion sense as well too. I mean, you got here, you rocking the scarf, you got all the things going on. Just kind of where did that whole situation kind of come from you from a lifestyle and fashion standpoint?
I don't know. I like BET and rap music. I grew up. Like seriously, you grow up like just like looking at people like Mary and like the
Right.
whole bad boy era, like with like Puffy and like Kim, some of the stuff she wear, and that was just like a way like to express yourself. And so for me, I just like to pull like from every areas and every avenues and just put it together and just make me, because I don't see myself looking like one particular person.
Mhm.
I just like to throw stuff together. Sometimes it's a hit, sometimes it's a miss.
Well, I want you to go ahead and start the first officials, what do you call it, arena walk. You know how they have the NBA, and they see like Russ and others coming in. We want to see Maia Chaka coming through with her things. Get that trending, and hey, have you trending the right way with those memes as you was talking about. What you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's all what it is. You put it in place. Let's see what happens.
That's what's up. What's up? Plug your socials before we let you get out of here one time. Tell the people where they can follow you, and also the name of your non-for-profit again as well too.
Sure, you can follow me on IG. It's my first and last name, just Maia Chaka. My nonprofit is Make Meaningful Change. Right now, the website is currently under construction. It should be up during mid-March, and that will be makemeaningfulchange.org.
That's it. You heard it here first from my new friend, the great, the incomparable Maia Chaka. She is not just an NFL official. She's out here doing big things in her community. That is all the time we have for today. Big shouts again to Maia. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm your host, Warren Shaw. Big shouts to 19 Media Group. And this has been another dope interview, and we're out.
Together we stand, divided we never. The vision is one, striving for the better. Working as a team, working toward a dream. It's not even work when the team is the dream. On a united front, we got our own back. A band of brothers to counteract any attack. One heart in fact, forget what the blood say. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA. So let's do it for the love, give to the max. Listen to opinion, but react to facts. And remember that together with a shh, but separate, just pieces of it. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA. Dope is what flows in this fam's DNA.
Family represent like a tree with names on it. We're free, no chains on it. Relieved, the pain's gone, I can see. We come together like questions on the quiz. Mojo Flow and Viz, man, you know what it is. And if ignorance is bliss, you're gonna hate this lesson. Organized intellect like a tropical depression. My symbol is the cross, a mic and ghost peppers. Cause I'm just a black sheep growing up to be a shepherd. Moonlighting as a weapon to protect the children. Every brother is a father, dynasties we're building. Max, J and K, Bay, and Isaiah, next level of the family foundation, understand me?